Hey folks, Mechalina here, and today we're going to be diving into a Playmaker tutorial on how to hook up a UI user interface button to trigger an event and get that all set up. Let me go ahead and make my face smaller and let's get started. So the thing I want to do is have a button in my UI that is going to show and activate an image in my scene here. So the first thing I want to do is just get set up actually with that image, and then we'll go ahead and do the button stuff. So in my canvas, I want to make this part of the canvas UI. So I'll go to right-click canvas, down to UI, and image. And the image I would like to show today is a cute corgi. So I found this image here, and I'm dragging that down to source image, and I'm going to scale this up while holding the shift button to keep that aspect ratio, and boink, that's what I would like to show. I'll rename this corgi. Great, and I'm going to actually unactivate him because we want the button to activate him. Next is I will create the button, so right click canvas, UI, and go down to button. And we have a button here, but it comes with a default shape. I want to do something a little different, so I'm going to change out that source image. And so where it says UI sprite here, which is the default, I found this button that I like. And this is coming in a little too big, so I'm going to scale this how I see fit. I think that looks really great, and I'm going to move the button to about there. Awesome, so now we have the button in the scene. Let's create the FSM now. So with the button still highlighted, I'm going to right click down here to add an FSM, and I'm just going to call this button turn on corgi FSM, really descriptive. And so when everything plays, you know your FSM starts off with going automatically to the start and running state 1. We only want the button to trigger the button click when the button is clicked. To do that, we're going to create a global click event or global transition. We're going to add an event, and we're going to call that on click. And let's go back here. So let's create our first state, which the state will turn on the corgi. And then how do we get to that state or start that state is we're going to right click, go to not add transition, but add global transition, and go to that on click event we just created. And you can see here, now we have the starting thing that can trigger on click and turn on the corgi. In this here, let's just add the action we need to turn on the corgi. And so that's going to be activate game object. Drop it down here, and I want to change out game object and specify, so I'm going to drag my hidden corgi down here, and yes, I do want to activate it, and I will leave recursive on, which just means anything underneath a corgi, a child of corgi, will also do the same thing right on. Alright, we are not totally finished yet. The next thing we need to do is to make sure that the computer or the UI interface knows that we're actually clicking on it and that we're sending that. So we're like mapping the actual clicking action of the button, your touch screen, whatever, to that and triggering that FSM. So this is kind of like the higher layer up. This was very confusing to me at first when first starting. So to do that, again, with the button clicked, you'll go to the inspector. And to control that, that's this thing, this on click thing. And so we're going to click the plus button to start a command. And what we want to do here is when it's on click, we want it to actually run and activate this FSM we just made. So we're going to take this FSM, and I'm holding it, dragging and dropping over here into the none. And next, we're going to click this drop-down menu that says no function, and we're going to go all the way down. We want it to run a function through the Playmaker FSM, and maybe you can guess which one we want to do here. what we want to do is we want to send an event. Remember, we created that global event on click, and that's what we want to send. So we'll say send event, and we have to send, if you remember that, this had a string that we need to send it. And the string is the event name. So that's this one here that you just wrote. So I'm copying that exactly on click. And now our button is fully set up. So let's run this. All right, and now the scene is running and nothing is going on. We have some scrolling text from my previous tutorials, the scrolling text tutorial with Text Mesh Pro. Don't worry about it. And let's test out the button. So I am clicking the button, click, and our corgi shows up, and you can see down here that it was waiting in start, and then on the click, it now has turned on the corgi. Great, that's all I had to show for you all today. I hope this tutorial was useful. Let me know in the comments below what else you would like to see.